that we don't have to be compelled to do extraordinary things. We stretch on our own. Really, that's what it is.
Yeah. We don't have to wait until the crisis to become faithful and courageous.
And that's what, you know, when you were talking about that at the beginning, Mike, that's what came to my mind was Alma telling the people, now I'm not going to be able to remember the place, that they didn't, that they were blessed because they were compelled to be humble, but some people didn't need to be compelled to be humble. We can choose to have gratitude and not have to be compelled, not have to be in bondage before we choose to be humble.
To me, it's not just gratitude, but it's the humility to do things that
humble.
scare us out of our pants. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Courage.
Yes, yes.
Well, and frankly, I think that courage is manifest by doing things that people are not doing. So the country is in this side of the cycle with complacency and apathy and dependence. And so by having courage, that in and of itself, you know, by doing anything else, by having gratitude, by not being dependent, any of that is courageous because it's not what people are doing. And it's hard to be doing something that other people aren't doing. Frankly, sometimes I feel like it's hard to be getting up at 5 and studying, which I haven't been doing that very long, and I get to thank Deanna for the fact that I'm doing it anyway, but just the fact that I'm studying when, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the way other people choose, but when I could be having a play group 3 times a week, which would be great and fine, but I choose to study because for me that's on my path to liberty. But I don't think, you know, a lot of the people around me in my ward, a lot of people aren't just studying. You know, they're not trying to figure out what the founders said. And so, and I'm not saying that that makes me better or wonderful. That just, to me, that's a way of showing courage, doing something that other people aren't doing. That's how I'm trying to be courageous. Because I don't have to do it. No one, not no one, a lot of people around me aren't doing it, so that makes it so that I don't feel like I have to do it. So it takes my own initiative, my own courage to do it. I hope that came across the way I intended it.
Shoot,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I should have put it down there.
I would like to add something else before we move on.
Yeah, let's do that.
And that is, as I looked at this cycle, I have to thank Deanna. I just finished reading a book about Joan of Arc. And as I got through that part, what were you talking about? When Ezra Taft Benson in the lecture said, if principles are correct, then they can be applied to any specific proposal with confidence. And I stuck confidence in that cycle. Because I think confidence is a precursor to courage. And Joan of Arc is a great example of...
Sorry, Karen, that was distracting.
That's all right, that's all right. I think that Joan of Arc is such a great example of someone who went out and increased her faith, which gave her confidence and the courage to do what she knew God wanted her to do.
Without being compelled.
Without being compelled.
Yeah.
Her mother taught her what faith was and showed her where to find God, but she chose to go to church whenever she could, to take the sacraments whenever she could. And the Lord knew her and used her when the time came, but she had to have that courage. She had so much courage, and so I know you wanted us to share other things that we were studying that apply to this.
Yes.
Anybody who wants to read a great book, it's by Spoto, S-P-O-T-O is the author. Is that the one you read?
Mm-mm.
It's called Joan, Mysterious Heretic Turned Saint.
Yeah. Yep.
Mysterious woman.
Something about
Heretic
it.
Mysterious
turned-
life of the heretic.
Yeah, the mysterious life of the heretic turned saint. Such a good book. I have a copy, and I just finished it. If you want to borrow
That
it.
sounds great.
I read Joan of Arc, her story, and it was barely in story form. I mean, they would talk more about the credits of the history and how credible one history is versus this one of where the information came from. It was very detailed. And I read the story part of it, and then after that it has every single person that was an impact in her life and has a bio on all them.
Oh,
I didn't touch that.
Wow.
And then it has, I mean, it was...
That's a lot.
It was...
There's a lot of names in that book.
Yeah. I mean, it was the historian's book to read.
Well,
And
this guy is
it
a
was
theologian.
It was difficult to get through a little bit, but...
And so
That's good.
he has an understanding of the Catholic law and how that and how it was completely ignored basically in her trial.
Yeah.
But it also has
Totally.
dialogue from the trial.
And-
Answers back and forth, questioner
Yeah,
and
it has
Joan.
some of that too, yeah.
A wonderful, really good book.
From
Anyway.
both trials, probably.
Yes.
Nullification in the original.
Yes. Well, no, it doesn't go a lot into the nullification.
Okay.
It's mentioned, but that's in an afterword.
Okay.
It ends with her execution, which is just heartbreaking. I can't wait to read Mark Twain's book about Joan of Arc because I hear it's really good too.
Interesting.
Anyway, had to add that. It just happened to be. It came out so clear to me that confidence is a precursor to courage, and we get that through principles, through true principles.
Yes, that's good.
I don't want anyone to leave and think, I really just wanted to bring up this.
Oh.
So if anyone else has anything, I go to book club like that. If I don't get to say this, I'm gonna go home frustrated. So I don't want anyone to do that.
So Landon, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, you were talking about principles. I thought it was kind of interesting how she said decisions should be based on principles. And I think that's a lot of the dependency, because people, a lot of the decisions nowadays are, I want this, I want that,
How can I get it?
I want this, I have the right to be happy, you need to give it to me. The government needs to give it to me, and if I don't have it, I'm not happy. And I think it's very dependent.
So that's because we're not based on principles? Is that what you're saying?
Because all of our actions, or not all actions, a lot of people, their actions are based on what they want right then, instead of principles.
Yeah.
If it was based on principles, then they would work, and if it was something they wanted, they would get it. And if it wasn't something that they wanted, then that would never come up in the first place. But a lot of choices are what they want.
Yeah.
Decisions based on.
Not real deep heart sort of desires, but in the moment, my desire right now is what you're talking about, right?
That's so interesting because I was just studying desire this morning with the 1828 dictionary in my scripture study because of something Deanna said in passing a few weeks ago that I thought, I want to learn more about desire. I'm so glad she said that, and she doesn't even know she did. But that's what I studied this morning, and it talked in the 1828 dictionary verse, and I looked it up in both, about desire being, is it about longing versus is it just a quick what I want? And there were different connotations of desire. They talked about European versions versus the way we use it in America. So all of that came up in the different definitions of desire. So that was very interesting to hear come out tonight. I had no